Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of My Team Career Mode, this time in China. My name is Fierce and yeah, let's get started right away. We've started with selecting our activity timeline and there is an international event between them, so it's going to be a little bit tricky in order to find out where to put my activity time slots in. But yeah, for now we go with the chassis department focus because we do have a lot of upgrades going there. In the meantime, we get upgrades from our engine, which is the Honda engine, so that is another free upgrade, so that is very beneficial. Puts up Red Bull right onto the spot of Ferrari. But yeah, we get invited to an international event at Zandvoort in a Red Bull car. So this is probably something like the Jumbo race dagen. Jumbo race days, and yeah, of course, being Dutch myself, this is definitely but beneficial to say hi to all the fans. But it was a really big pain to get used to this car compared to my car, so I was braking a lot earlier or a little bit too late trying to find the limits. But all we have to do is drive 7.8 kilometers in distance, which is yeah, not that big. It's roughly 2 laps, maybe a little bit more. So yeah, we go ahead and we do that as we enter the very tricky section because it's pretty much a blind corner or well, blind apex. We get a little bit of a tank slapper, so while we could say that we were struggling with the car, we could also say that we were entertaining the fans with the different engine sounds, so to say. But yeah, we brake at the usual spot that I've practiced, and that seems to work. Because it's super slippery here, and the car is really unsettled with my driving style, so that does need a little bit of work. But yeah, for now it does seem that we get along with the car. A little bit of a slapper to the left there on the wall, no damage fortunately. But with 27 seconds still left and refreshing all the time, it is a pretty fun car to drive. Seeing the Sea of Orange as well, because they're only here for one thing, and that is the Dutch fans and Dutch drivers. So yeah, as we make this inciting turn, you want to keep as close to the apex as possible, because like that you can set yourself up for a really good exit. Don't try to corner cut this time, but this turn needs a lot more practice as we go wide and miss a few of the exit curbs. Again, not sure where to brake here, but this seems really good. And then too eager on the throttle, so we get a little bit of a tank slapper. So if we were to drive this in the actual season, we will be dead last for sure, because we just cannot control the car in a very convenient way. And yeah, just like that, we get some more checkpoints. 7.4 kilometers out of 7.8, so we're very keen to getting this. But with only 8 seconds left, we do try to make the most of it as possible. And as you can see, we've passed it, but since we're here in our hometown, well, not hometown, but in our home country, I do want to make the show as entertaining as possible, so I go a little bit too deep, a little bit too wild, make the engine sounds known, maybe go a little bit too wide. And then as we go for the final turn, yeah, that was a little big of a crash, but hey, we passed, so I hope the fans still enjoyed that. But even then, after this round, and we will go to Zandvoort anyway, so yeah, just like that, we've driven 9.18 kilometers an hour. Well, not an hour, that would be super slow. But yeah, we get a lot of cash influx, we get a lot of team acclaim, so that's good. So unlike last year's game,
we're expecting some new developments to come through, but some of them have failed the quality control. Make sure you indicate what you'd like redeveloped via the R&D screen.
yeah, so unlike last year's game, it is beneficial to do those international events because they can affect your team acclaim. But we just don't have enough yet for the additional sponsor. We also saw in the R&D tree that our upgrade failed, so we fixed that by throwing more resource points at it. And yeah, that will take a little bit more time in order to get it completed. But for the Chinese Grand Prix, we will not have that upgrade, so yeah, let's see how we do. So in qualifying 1, we're still trying to find the limits of this car, and we do notice that we need to shift down to second gear at that point in the corner, because if you don't, then yeah, you don't get enough rotation in order to get the car going. But yeah, very sloppy lap. We even get behind Russell, so yeah, that already shows that it's not really beneficial. But as we want to go out, there's actually Nick de Vries coming in, so we have to wait for him in order to get into the garage so we can go out again. So that is unfortunate, so that costs us a little bit of time, but I don't think it's too crucial because it's still Q1, there's still a lot of time. But then again, it's still great to see. Yeah, again, we missed second gear, we don't have the rotation, we went in a little bit too hard as well, but it was a little bit cleaner, so there's still 2 tenths to be gained. And later on in the lap we see that we gain a lot more time, but we don't really take the car to the full extent just yet. So what we gain 4 tenths is just slightly improving upon our mistakes, but that's pretty much it. But this final corner, it's very interesting corner. You do try to fight for traction, but also trying to stay on the inside, because that's why you can plant your power. And as you can see, that gains us a little bit of time, so that's a good thing to hear. And as we go into the final corner, we do lose a little bit of time in order to get a good exit, and the exit rewards us with, yeah, the additional 10th. So that's good. So looking at the standings chart, we are
337.8 kilometers per hour.
That's just crazy. We're second in the speed trap, so the Honda engine is working great for us. We're also running pretty low wings, but in comparison to Nick de Vries, it's still pretty tight. So we have to iron out our mistakes. And while we do that, well, we do go a little bit more ballsy in that corner, and that gives us another 1.5 tenths just for free. And the exit improves as well, so make them actually close to 2 tenths. As this exit gets a little bit better on traction, but also this track has been rubbered in a lot more, so we can profit from that. But this is not a part that has been rubbered in a lot, because the AI tends to take it a lot more wide. But at the final turn we improve with another half a second, which puts us in P17. So that's a pretty good position for us. We can be really happy with this. So yeah, let's go to the Vietnam Grand Prix and see how we do.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles an hour, with DRS assisting the cars down the back straight before they brake into the sharp hairpin at turn 14. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Sainz, Ocon, Norris, and Sergio Perez, Stroll, Vettel, Daniel Kvyat, and Gasly, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Red, and George Russell, Magnussen, De Vries, Grosjean, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
It might be difficult getting out of the midfield today based on your last race result. Let's see what you can do.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, in terms of strategy, it's not going to be a lot different than other races. I do try to spice it up a little bit, but there's nothing really that comes into contention to take this bad boy to the end. I was thinking about going hard to the softs, but the softs don't really last that long, so it's not really beneficial going softs to hards. So as we go to 5 red lights, it's lights out and away we go. We do not get a really fantastic start because Russell is trying to overtake us around the outside, but we can slot in behind Raikkonen and maybe get some positions from there. Actually, there's a lot of space left on the outside, so we do benefit from that. But can we get some little bit more? No, we cannot. So we slot in behind Kvyat with Sebastian Vettel, who had an awful qualifying alongside. Sebastian is going to be one of the focuses of this race, so keep him in mind. And we actually make a dive bomb to the inside. So that is already a pretty good start, but do we want to fight him? Well, we get a little bit too close to Gasly, so that gives us a really poor exit, and Sebastian Vettel just, cruises along us. So that's unfortunate. But because the entire pack is still glued up together, they're all getting the pace deficit from the pack leader, who is still trying to defend from the second leader. So as we're trying to get some slipstream going, and yeah, we can actually try to overtake Sebastian Vettel just on the straight. He had a really poor exit, staying behind Gasly and having to feather his throttle a little bit, but we had a full exit and we profited from that with full slipstream and overtake, and we were able to overtake Gasly as well. So that's pretty good for us. Puts us in a really good race position, but Gasly comes and tries to attack us. We push him a little bit wide, but that also compromises our entry to the corner. But Gasly does stay behind us, but can we keep behind Gasly with the overtaking slipstream? Well, it does seem that way because he's very far ahead. So as we go to the next turn, we get settled into a pretty solid race pace. We are 1.7 behind Kvyat, but then Raikkonen, who overtook Gasly and Vettel apparently, is 1.7 behind us. So yeah, like that, we're kind of in no man's land, and all we can do is just push in for the race win. And yeah, as you can see, we're fully set on our race pace. So as we try to enable overtake and rich mix, you do see the timing decrease between me and Kvyat, because it was 1.8 and now it's like 1.4 now. But yeah, if we push it hard enough, maybe we can get into the slipstream, maybe we can catch some DRS. But then again, lap 3 has already begun, so DRS is already enabled, which means that Kvyat already has DRS on the driver in front of him, which is Lance Stroll. So as we try to fast forward the lap, we can see that it's a little bit of a yo-yo effect. So we do gain sometimes here and there, and then we lose sometimes here and there. And eventually we'll always be around me getting some time on the straights, probably because of my wing setup. But then in some cornering setups, I do seem to be losing some time. So that is unfortunate. So we cannot catch Kvyat, but some people who were on the softs initially are coming in for their first pit stop. So that's only lap 6, so the softs really do not last that long. So like I said, I was thinking about going hard into the softs, but yeah, the softs just don't have a really good life expectancy. So just like that, we're overtaking more people in the pit lane who are coming in from the softs. But yeah, as we cruise on with our race, we do see Vettel just struggling with his car. I don't know why. Maybe he has an engine issue or very worn engine or a gearbox, one of the two. But right now he doesn't really seem that confident. He doesn't really gain either on the straights or the corners, as you would expect a Ferrari to do so, because on paper they're still the second or third best car. I think they're second best. But yeah, just like that, we can see that he's trying to stay close to Gasly, but he gets him in the corners, but as soon as he hits dirty air, it's just like he doesn't progress anymore. And it's really crazy because Leclerc is in the meantime coming for... He has already made a pit stop. Coming for the double softs, I believe. Or coming from the softs into the reds. And yeah, unlike Vettel, he does try to attack as he goes down the inside of Giovinazzi. Yeah, that's a clean overtake. That is something you would expect Vettel to do as well, and his teammates ahead. But Vettel actually goes defensive, even though Leclerc already made a pit stop. So if I was the Ferrari pit wall, I would just let Leclerc by, because he's clearly the faster driver and Vettel is only stuck in traffic that he cannot seem to pass. But yeah, as we can see here, Vettel is just going defensive and defensive against Leclerc, and Leclerc is only getting held back by Vettel. So there is some international warfare between the Ferrari driving team, and you can see that Vettel is just going the extreme defensive lines. He even locks up and slows down Leclerc even more. But as Leclerc is going for the inside move, yeah, it's somewhat like equal cars fighting each other, where it makes it a lot more difficult in order to overtake. But yeah, it's just crazy to see that Leclerc is having so much issue in order to overtake Vettel. But Leclerc does have a better exit this time. He's very close. He gets the slipstream and DRS, and he is overtaking. So can he make it? Can he maybe overtake Kvyat or Gasly as well? No, it doesn't seem that way. But Vettel had another look in the inside, so he's really not pleased with Leclerc overtaking him for some reason. I don't know why Vettel is fighting so much, because it makes no sense. He's already a pit stop behind, so yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there, but it also shows that Vettel is just not confident in his car, whereas Leclerc could make those overtaking moves against the cars ahead in the midfield. So yeah, it's kind of weird what's going on here, but for now, as long as they both held up with each other, I'm not too worried about this. So we come in for a pit stop, and we do see that we get overtaken a little bit by not only Ricciardo, Norris, but also De Vries, Ocon. But Ocon is on the medium, so I wonder if he's going till the end, because I think he qualified. Because I think he qualified on the soft tires, so we will have to see whether or not that is the appropriate action to take. But yeah, here we can see Ricciardo just hunting down Nick De Vries. It's not Daniel Ricciardo, it's Esteban Ocon. That was on the medium tires, and Nick De Vries is also on the medium tires, but we can see the Renault power coming in clutch with the overtake, rich mix and slipstream. Yeah, unfortunately that's another position, but that isn't over for Nick De Vries, because he is being attacked by Sergio Perez of all people. So yeah, that's going to be tough to defend against one of those superior midfield drivers. And there he goes, slipstream, DRS, overtake, rich mix. Yeah, no chance. So here we try to push. So here we try to push for our outlap, and we do see that we overtake a lot of people. And Nick De Vries is one of those people trying to pit now. But we do see that we are kind of catching Ocon here. So, I mean Perez. Ocon just goes into the pits with his medium tires. So he's on a really weird odd strategy as well, whereas he loses a lot of time. But yeah, Perez is catching Leclerc and we are catching Perez, so we're in a pretty good position in order to get some decent points here. So as we're trying to chase down Perez, we can see that we are kind of faster than him. So here we can see Sebastian Vettel also chasing down our teammate, and he does overtake him. So I think the pit stop worked for him, because he gained the confidence in order to overtake some cars. Even though this overtake move didn't work for him, he does go for the overtaking move. But now he's right behind Nick De Vries, and he should have the slipstream, DRS, and yeah, that should be him overtaking him. And as we can see on the top left, he did overtake him. So
their tyres are 10 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 37.4. We're gaining by around 0.2 per lap. Gap to teammate behind is 25.9 seconds.
So yeah, as you can see, we are faster than Perez here with 2:10. So I'm trying to keep up the pace, but it doesn't really seem to work that well, as Vettel is trying to overtake us because he is pushing now. He does regain that confidence on his hard tires. I don't know what it was on him being on the mediums, but then he goes down the inside and tries to overtake us. I give him the space, but we get a little bit better on the throttle here, so we do stay ahead for now. But can we keep him up at the start finish straight? Well, no, it's the long back straight. Apparently we do. So yeah, here we go. Sebastian Vettel trying to make another overtaking move on us, and he does lock up a little bit, or I did, but this time he will have a better exit, it seems. Going side by side into this final corner to the back straight. He is side by side. Yeah, he will get us. Just like that, he will get us. I tucked down into the slipstream, maybe trying to re-overtake him, but he's just too fast. Especially with DRS. It was to no contest, and unfortunately we lost another place.
We're leading our teammate by 33.0 seconds.
So we do have signs in our back, and we are trying to manage these tires, but we go a little bit wide, and that is so unfortunate. Sainz tucks it down the inside. Yeah, I cannot have an acceleration point anymore because he already claimed that position. We just lost another place. It was very silly. Don't think I should have lost it by there, but then again, Sainz was really fast. In that McLaren car, he will try to overtake Vettel for sure with his race pace, but yeah, you can already see how fast he is ahead. So here we see Vettel try to chase Perez for I believe 6, 7. So it's not really a great race position for Vettel to be in, but he gets a mechanical issue. Stuck in second gear, and I think he lost power. I think he's out of the race. Yes, he is, because he parks the car, and that is race over for him. So we do profit from that by going outside of that initial corner.
Yellow flag.
And there he is, parked up. Sebastian Vettel retired from the Grand Prix. So us being a dark horse to get some racing points, no pun intended. But there we go. In the final lap, we do inherit that P10, which means that we get a single point in the Chinese Grand Prix.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And then we have a P10, 1 point for this team. Get driver of the day as well. I'm not sure if I deserve that because there wasn't really that much happening in my race. But still, nice to get anyway.
Chinese Grand Prix winners today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
And there you have it. Lewis Hamilton wins the Chinese Grand Prix. Bottas in P2. So it is still a Mercedes dominant team. And we see Max Verstappen on P3 trying to get some more points out of them. But yeah, with no real big success because he's still 10 points behind Lewis Hamilton. Nick de Vries got lapped in the end. Sebastian Vettel, he did classify because he made enough laps, but yeah, we get a lofty P10. On to the interviews.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy?
Well, we were lucky to have some clean air, but also our car was very aerodynamically stable, so I could just put my foot down the floor and exactly know what happens with the car.
It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, F1 is still a team sport, so as long as we can build our team's foundation, then we should be aiming for the top here.
Appreciate your time.
All right, thanks, Claire. Not that many interview questions, but we do beat our rival with that pretty good race. We have some really decent race pace, so I'm really happy with that one. And we do get level 5 now, so that means that for next race we will be able to get a sponsor. Unfortunately for Atlantic, we only have 71 out of 75 race laps done. But yeah, that concludes the Chinese Grand Prix, and for the next race we will go to the Dutch Grand Prix, so our home race, as well as Nick de Vries, as well as Max Verstappen. Yeah, let's see what comes from that. So guys, if you like this, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. I love all your support lately, and I hope to see you next time for the Dutch Grand Prix. Goodbye.